Layers tool. Now the layers tool is really the bread and butter of everything you're going to do in Photoshop. So it is essential. You really have to understand it to understand how to use Photoshop to anything more than just, kind of a paint program. So over on the right here, you see that I've already created 2 layers. And over on the right, if I push the plus, I'll create another one. So see how that just adds a second one. If I want to delete it, I go down to the 3 dots and I push delete that layer. I don't want those layers. Now if I hold down the plus, I get new layer, adjustment layer, or new empty group. I want to pretty much at this point just say new layer, and then I want to bring in a picture. So to bring in a picture, over on the left I can tap on the picture, look at my photos, and say all photos, and I've taken this new picture of me, there we go, and say that looks great to me, done. Now what you'll notice is over on the right, there's 2 pictures that exist. What you also might notice is the picture that was here is no longer visible. And that's because this layer is below the other one. If I hold on it, I can actually bring it above the other one, and now I see that layer. So what you need to think about here is imagine that the layers are a stack of pancakes. And you need to get to the bottom pancake, or you want to see the bottom pancake. And so there's several ways to do that. So one thing you could do is if we go to our eraser tool, you could literally destroy the image, and you could literally just erase through. And let's make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. Okay, I could erase through. And by doing this, I can bring me through. And you'll notice on the little picture over here to the right, there's some empty pixels, because as you saw in a previous video, I've literally destroyed the image. Now that's okay, but that's not ideal, because now I've destroyed an image and I can't utilize that image if I want to. So I'm going to say undo there. I didn't want to do any of that. And there's a second way to do this, and this is what the real benefit of layers are. You can create a mask layer, and to create a mask layer, you go over to the right, and there's the little rectangle with a circle in the middle. Some people in the Photoshop world call it an egg on a plate, just to give you something visually to think about. And that egg on a plate, if you tap it, it creates this thing called a mask. And now I can move it from side to side with my finger and look at this masking layer. Now the masking layer is white. So here's the thing you have to remember. If you paint on the masking layer with black, it will reveal the layer below it. So the little rhyme you can remember is black reveals, white conceals, if the mask as it defaults to is in white. So what I can do is go to my brush tool over on the left, choose a little bit bigger brush size, and then I can paint on here with my black brush because black reveals, and it'll show what's below this. So notice, there I am. If I paint here, what I'm getting as I paint is the image below. And yet you'll see also that what I've painted here is just a whole bunch of black on this mask layer. So here's the original image, and I haven't destroyed it at all, but I have looked through to see the image below. The benefit of that is if, let's say I don't like what I've done here, I can just delete the mask as it shows here. I can say delete mask, and now I still have that original image, and it's been, unchanged, but I can still create a new mask and paint down through it. Now let's make it really big. Let's imagine you paint a whole bunch. So I'm painting black on there, and it's really over the top. I've done too much with that. Remember, white conceals, so what I can do is go to my white chip, and with my white chip selected, now what I can do, there we go, white chip selected, just hold it down and swipe down. Now I can actually paint back through with the white and see how it's doing that on the layer. The white is bringing back me below it. It's fixing it, right? So it's making up for the mistake I just made by painting all that black on here. Now, obviously, if you do that really aggressively, it's pretty simple, and you can simply, show what's below it. But the goal is, and what we'll be doing a lot in the class, is you can bring different layers through each other, and you can start to make some really cool compositions by combining different looks and different ideas. But the key is that you understand these layers and how those layers work. And if you really want to get advanced with it, what I'd encourage you to do is make many layers and then see how those masks cut through each layer and how you kind of mentally have to think through how that works its way down. That's the real basics of layers. That's not changing anything for adjustments, changing anything for colors. There's so many things that we have to enter into, but that's the basics of layers and how layers work there.